These two bottles have different mash bills, different ABVs, and they're not even made in the same state, but they do have something pretty unusual in common. Hello and welcome back to the channel, and yes, today I'm taking a look once again at Angel's Envy and Heaven's Door. After reviewing both of these in the last 6 months or so, I kind of sat back one day and went, you know what, these two kind of remind me of each other a little bit. They are just a lot of branding. It's good, but maybe a little bit too chill and maybe not complex enough to my taste. That said, I've only had really a sample or two out of each, so they're not heavily used bottles and they will probably improve over time. But that didn't stop something in the back of my mind going, there's a similarity here, there's something really quite unusual, and I couldn't work out why, because they're different ABVs, they are different mash bills, and you know, they're not made by the same people. Heaven's Door is made by the legendary Bob Dylan. I did just check on the back there to make sure I wasn't making that up. It is absolutely his thing, and whilst he might not be the master distiller, he has had a lot of input in it. On the flip side, Angel's Envy has the master distiller Lincoln Henderson. He is a legend in the bourbon game, and well, as a result, this should have been absolutely insane, but it still left me just a little bit disappointed. It's nice, but just still not quite there. And then I worked it out after a bit of searching. Yes, both of these were brought to fruition by the same businessman. And that man's name is Mark Buschala, and you know what? He didn't really have anything to do, as far as I can tell, with the liquid in the bottles. But what he did have everything to do with is the setup of the brands, the business acumen, the getting it on the shelves and selling part of whiskey. And look, it's not the most exciting thing in terms of what we talk about. We want to know what the liquid's like, but it is just a little bit interesting that both of these reminded me of each other without that knowledge beforehand. So today I thought it would be a fun test to find out how similar are they really, and is that one particular businessman an absolute hero, or well, is it all in the marketing? We are about to find out. So just how different are these? Well, the Heaven's Door, I mean, lovely looking thing. It's based on the ironwork actually done by Bob Dylan. A lot of people don't know, as well as an incredible singer-songwriter, he was also into his visual arts, and yeah, this ironwork is one of his projects. This is a 42% Tennessee bourbon, straight bourbon whiskey. So it's not a Tennessee whiskey, it's Tennessee bourbon, presumably then not charcoal filtered. And then the Angel's Envy is a Kentucky straight bourbon finished in port wine barrels. So this is a straight up bourbon, this is a finished bourbon, but it's Kentucky bourbon, and as I said, from the cellars, as it says up here, of Lincoln Henderson. Both come in very nice, very tall bottles, very much stand out on a shelf, and I have no doubt that the man behind both had a little to do with that logic. This one comes in at, if I can find it, 43.3%, so 42, 43.3, they're not massively far apart, but as a result, we'll start with the Heaven's Door, the lower ABV. But let's get one poured. Excellent cork pop. That one was good too. In the glasses then, they look actually quite different. Normally when I do bourbon comparisons, they are pretty similar, but I think possibly because of that port wine finish on the Angel's Envy, it has got just a slightly deeper, richer, more kind of tangerine orange hue to it. Meanwhile, the Heaven's Door is very much just true golden, just blissful bourbon really. Both look good, but yeah, not as close as some others. Heaven's Door on the aroma then. Not had it for a bit, couldn't really tell you what it was like without going back to it. It's big, floral, big, but it's got this kind of resonating booziness, I think is the word to describe it. It's the ethanol. It's definitely filling your nasal passage, but mostly with the booze and not a great deal else. As I say, it has got that floral note. There's a bit of kind of simple syrup, basic just sweetness in the background, but quite one-dimensional. It's mainly a bit floral and not a lot else at this point, it has to be said. Onto then the Angel's Envy. This one I feel like I like more, but how much more, we're about to find out. Okay, definitely less floral. Very similar, just, yeah, ethanol spread, if you like. It really does just kind of fill the passageways, and not quite as aggressive, more woody, more caramel, more proper rich bourbon notes, I think is what I'm getting at. And surprisingly, that port finish, it is port finish. Yeah, it is a port wine finish. It isn't as berries, cherries and sickly as it is in a lot of port wine finish scotches. It's much more softer undertones. The actual bourbon really coming through a lot more on the aroma there. So this will be interesting. Let's get in for a taste of Heaven's Door. Cheers. As we kind of expected with the aroma, quite sharp, boozy hit. Should point out, every day is different. I feel different every day. I've probably reviewed this completely differently in the past. I've not had another drink in the last week or about a week, so you know, it's gonna feel very, very different. And it's sweet, it's spiky, it's got a little bit of an oaky tone, it's got some kind of peanut brittle finish, but it's not massively strong. And I've probably said this about it before, it's certainly not bad. I just haven't really decided whether it's good. Then on to Angel's Envy. Let's give this a go. Cheers. It feels more rustic, more raw, more... It does feel more Kentucky bourbon. I'm not going to lie, like, it has got that richness. I'm not going to say it's like a particular other bottle, because it isn't really, but how do I put this? Well, you know how Buffalo Trace products and Wild Turkey products are definitely different, and you put them side by side and you can tell which is which. But then if you compared them to a higher end Jack Daniels product or something like Widow Jane or something like that, then it all starts to become very much more regional. They definitely feel closer to each other than they do to some others, and this is sitting very much in that camp. This is definitively Kentucky bourbon, and I think it has less specific notes. I'm not getting any of that nice kind of peanut brittly semi-savoury goodness that I love so much in whiskey. And actually the flavours are a lot less pronounced. They're a bit more of a muddle, but on the whole it's a better balanced, more coercive blend in my opinion. Now of course we do need to go back and forth a little bit. Coming then back to Heaven's Door, it's fresher, it's not quite spritzy, it's more reminding me of like elderflower cordial, which is a very British reference I think, but you get the idea. It's got that kind of seasonality to it, that springtime air, just helping things along. It's definitely not as rich, not as dense, and it is nice, but it just has a big kind of gaping hole in the middle of its flavour profile that doesn't necessarily just resonate between the two. But we came here to talk about how similar these were, because they did leave me with a very similar thing, and that thing was they're both really nice, but they don't really stand out much. But in actuality, it just goes to show that really the clever business minds that get these things on the shelves, well, they really don't have anything to do with the liquid inside, because it is totally different, which is interesting. There's just a sweetness and approachability about both of them that I think is what set my mind racing to go, you know what, I feel similar about both of these, in that they are both nice, they're just never what I really want to drink at the time. The Angel's Envy is one that I throw to people that come around and they go, well, I kind of like bourbon, but you know, I like the honey Jack Daniels. It's not bourbon, but yes. Okay, fine. So you like those kind of whiskey tones with some sweetness. Well, try this, because it is not a sweetener added, but because that port cast finish is sweetening it off a bit. And I'll be honest with you, the Heaven's Door I've not really found a use for yet. I'm sure we'll get there one day. Maybe it makes a mean old fashioned or something, but yeah, interesting comparison. Have you tried one or either of these bottles? Let me know in the comments below, and how do you feel they sit against each other? Now, price-wise, I'm not sure where these sit in the US market, but in the UK, very, very closely matched. The Angel's Envy, despite being the stronger one, is actually a smidge cheaper, around about 60 quid online. Heaven's Door, a bit more variable, but a little over 60 quid in most places. And that is also interesting. It definitely puts them into that upper premium, like we're definitely into rare breeds territory, or well, we're beyond Eagle Rare. It's, you know, it's higher end stuff, this, and neither of them really do it to me at that price point. If they were lower, definitely a conversation to be had, but yeah, at this point, whilst I definitely prefer the Angel's Envy between the two, I'm very, very much of the opinion that these are marketing over true brilliant bourbon, which is a shame, but the good news is they aren't bad. So if you have bought one, don't worry, it's going to be an enjoyable drink. You're probably just not going to buy it again, would be my bet. And that really is all I've got to say about it. So as always, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you haven't already, subscribe if you would be so kind, and I'll catch you next time. Cheers.